So what is up, everybody? It is Tuesday today. It's April the 28th. I am live on Facebook and I am recording this video. It's the 27th day of the COVID campaign for financial awareness. So if you're joining live on Facebook, you can ask questions and I will answer them as best as my ability can help me. And if you are watching this later, please bear with me as I pause and answer questions that may or may not appear on my Facebook live feed. But this video will be shown on YouTube, Facebook, IG Live, or IGTV, I'm sorry, and it will be documented there moving forward after we are done shooting. So today I want to talk about the one-page financial plan. Now this comes after I've read the book, The One-Page Financial Plan, and that was written by Carl Richards. Great book, amazing book. It actually condenses your financial plan into one page, which actually is a lot easier than it seems. But the great thing about the book is it actually shows you how to do that, what's important, and why making a one-page financial plan is actually useful for you. So I'm going to go over my post entitled The One-Page Financial Plan, or Making Your One-Page Financial Plan. And as well, I'm going to go over, as usual, my market update today on Tuesday the 28th. So first, let's start off with the market update, and then we'll jump into the one-page financial plan post that I created to go after Carl Richards' one-page financial plan. So the markets today, we have a mixed bag. We are actually starting to see some negativity in terms of oil prices plunging again. The TSX, though, is on a nice little mini run over the past week or so. We are seeing the Toronto Stock Exchange actually climb to almost back to a respectable level of where it was before the coronavirus struck. Now, one thing I do caveat with saying that statement is the fact that the Toronto Stock Exchange declined far more or more than the American exchanges or indices. So the Dow Jones is down today slightly, S&P down slightly, and NASDAQ is down slightly as well. We're looking at about 1% decline on the NASDAQ. The big thing I want people to understand with the decline on the NASDAQ is that tech stocks have actually been carrying the weight for the most part during our recovery after the huge drop after coronavirus struck. So do not fret in terms of small losses in terms of the NASDAQ. It is carrying the majority of the weight, so it's bound to give some back some of those gains. As far as Toronto, though, I'm quite impressed with how Toronto is actually handling the recovery aspect of the exchange right now. The big thing about it is that we need to be sure and steady with our investments, make sure we're not making drastic moves without the advice of a financial advisor. Again, we're not scaling down aggressiveness. If not, we are going up in aggressiveness or staying put. You don't want to seal off losses at this point. We are still not back to full levels of where we were before coronavirus struck. And in fact, as more economies start to open up, you will see the stock exchange actually doing better over time. So make sure that you're not missing any of those days. We don't know when they'll be, but you want to be a part of them, and that is a fact. So make sure you're not doing much in terms of your investments. We're laying low. And again, that is my market update today. Not too much, a mixed bag of worms right now. We need to just chill out and let it go and let it take care of itself while we take care of ourselves in isolation mode. Again, you're applying for the CERB. If you qualify for it, Canada Emergency Response Benefit. This is the $2,000 a month benefit, and you are applying right now for the month of May if you are still unemployed. So make sure you go and apply, and make sure you're actually putting some money away in terms of taxes, because that will come back to nip you in the bud next year at tax time. They do not mention that, but it is a taxable benefit. So it's about $500 a week, $2,000 a month, 4 months benefit. Make sure that you're applying for that and you're actually taking care of yourself during this period. One thing we're also doing is download my combo expenses worksheet, www.budgetboss.ca/combo expenses worksheet, and this will actually get you the worksheet that I use with my clients to help them make sure that they are on track with their budgets. And it's a useful worksheet. Hundreds and hundreds of people have downloaded it. I know because I've sent them all personally, the worksheet. So check it out. Make sure you are actually downloading the worksheet and getting your budget in order during this time while we have time to do it. So let's jump into my post on the one-page financial plan. I mentioned this was my post as an homage to Carl Richards, who released his book, The One-Page Financial Plan. And after I read that book, I made sure that I gave my take on his one-page financial plan system. And I feel that it's a great way to actually go about creating your own financial plan. And I personally love one-pagers. For me, if you can condense something and put it down on one page, I am a fan of that. I often see financial plans that are massive booklets, whereas we can actually just take the meat of it, put it on one page, make sure people understand it, and we can knock out those goals very efficiently that way. So the first thing is goals, goals, goals. Now, one thing that I've encountered a lot with my clients or with anyone in general is that they don't have clearly established financial goals. A lot of times when I ask people, what are your financial goals? They'll be confused. They'll actually be like, I've never really thought of that. You need to start thinking about financial goals. And the reason being is you can't measure your success or your lack thereof if you don't have clearly established financial goals. A lot of people just don't want to live like the way they're living, and that is fine. Ultimately, living paycheck to paycheck, it's not a good thing. We all know it. So maybe your financial goal is to not live that way. That's huge. That doesn't mean that that is a clearly established goal. Sometimes just knowing what you do not want to do is huge, and that in itself is a goal. So for me, my biggest goal when I first started saving money was to not be broke. I didn't know how to not be broke. I just knew I didn't like being broke anymore, and that was really, really pissing me off. So the one thing that I decided is like, okay, the only way I can actually not be broke is to save a little bit of money and also pay off debt. So I'm going to let you in a little secret about goals. It's okay to not have any right now. It's huge. Life's so up and down that oftentimes you don't think about these things as they're going along. So the big thing about it is that if you don't have clearly established financial goals, think about what you don't like, and that's fine. If you're living the paycheck to paycheck, getting out of that hustle is a goal. If you don't have savings, having a bit of savings or emergency fund is a goal. If you like to go on vacations on an annual basis, that is a goal. So an easy way to start picking out your goals is to actually pick the one thing in your financial life that you don't like. That is setting a goal, and that's huge. So for me, when I wrote this post, my big one financial goal that I had was I want my emergency fund to be larger than 1 year's living expenses. Emergency fund larger than 1 year's living expenses. At the time, my living expenses were about $2,000 a month. So that means I needed more than $24,000 in emergency savings to fulfill that goal. So you can pause this video after I post it and actually write down your personal financial goal. If you think of it while down or type it out, but make sure when you're actually going through your goals, you need to have clearly written financial goals. That's huge. So make sure you write down the goal. You can't just think of the goal. Write it down. Write it on the board. Pin it to the fridge, whatever it takes, but make sure that you're writing down your financial goals. That's a huge, huge thing. So for me, again, 1 year's living expenses in my emergency fund. So spending and saving. When you are going after your goals, there's always a spending and a saving component. You need to adjust your spending and then you need to amp up your saving to attack a goal. So for the one-page financial plan, you need to pick out one spending decision that you routinely make and one saving decision that you don't routinely make. So for instance, one spending decision is actually spending money on something that you can eliminate. And if you don't know how to do this, go through your online banking or go through your Visa card or whatever it is that you do and actually print it out or write it down if you bring it up on your computer or on your phone and highlight something in there that you can get rid of that is actually costing you money on a monthly basis. You have to do this because the way most of us actually live is that we will spend everything up until we have nothing left. That is the key. So we need to actually not do this and then save money. So again, the saving component is if you are looking to achieve a goal, you need to save money on a regular basis as well. So what can you do with that saving or spending part that you've eliminated and add it into a saving part? And that is huge. So analyze how many times a week you dine out. Take the average amount you spend on that night, put it into a savings account. By simply cutting back on one night out per week, per month, you have accomplished two goals. Actually, you've accomplished 3 goals. I brought up how my goal is to increase my emergency fund. So yours might be to take an annual vacation. Having savings set aside for that allows you to do both of those. So you build up your emergency fund to actually take the vacation that you want to take. So my statement here was I need to go out less, save more, so I will cut back on one night of going out per week and put it into savings. That was my statement to go along with the financial one-page financial plan. So take a moment. If you're watching this on video, if you're watching it live, rewatch it later if you have to. Take a moment and write down one saving slash spending goal that you have and use this as your barometer of how you're going to achieve your financial goal. So make sure the savings goal is something fun because you will be cutting back on something fun with your spending goal. So that is huge because oftentimes when you're not spending money, you're not spending on fun things, and that doesn't feel good. It's like working out. It's painful. We don't like that. So you got to think big. Well, sort of think big. It's hard to conceptualize something as far away as retirement when you're younger. It's even hard for some older people to conceptualize retiring, even when they're bearing down on retirement and they're only like 5 years away from it. So what you have to do is actually focus on achieving the smaller term goals that will lead up to the bigger goals. So if I tell you that you need $1 million for retirement, you're going to be confused because $1 million, that's a lot of money. How do I conceptualize $1 million right now when I have $5,000, $100, negative $20,000? How do you conceptualize this $1 million you're going to need for retirement? So we don't know what will happen tomorrow, let alone 30 years from now. All we can do is make the best choices right now with the information that we have. So I will break retirement down, or your retirement savings goals down, into one simple concept. You got to save for retirement. Period. That is what you need to know. So it's not as confusing as you think it will be. It's not as big as you think it will be. You need to put something away for retirement. Now, if that is your goal, make sure you're doing that on a regular basis. That is huge. It's not confusing. Most people actually get so overwhelmed with the idea of something so big that they don't do anything at all. What you need to do is focus on the bare minimum, the budget, and then actually put away what you can. And as time goes on, you adjust the budget to put away more. As your income grows, you put away more. So take that amount you save every year or every month and increase it by 10%. So if you're saving $100 a month, next year increase it by 10%. The year after, make a goal to increase by another 10%. When you do this, you'll be amazed at the results that you can achieve on a regular basis. So make sure you're indexing your savings. What this does is it's a forced progression of your savings to make sure that they're growing along with you as your income grows. So here is my bold statement for the one-page financial plan. I need to save for the future, so I will contribute to a retirement savings account, starting small and working my way up. That is a pretty basic statement, and that's something that we all can achieve. So take a moment to actually write down obstacles, or either financial or mental, to your long-term savings goals. Write them down, and you can do that to lessen these obstacles. Make sure you address them and write them down, because if you don't address them and write them down, you won't be cognizant of when they're appearing on a regular basis. Commit to amount to save on a regular basis, monthly basis, bi-weekly basis, weekly basis. That will help you achieve these goals. So that's huge. So I've attached on this post, in my post, a link to saving for retirement while paying off your student loans, and this is from the Balance, a website that I absolutely love. So make sure you're checking out that post, because where young people are paying off their student loans or paying off debts, trying to put money away towards saving for retirement is still an important thing to do, or making sure they can try and put a little bit away to build up some savings over that time while you're paying off debt. Protection's huge. And again, you might think that, why do I need to buy insurance to reach my savings goals? The biggest thing about it is that you are buying insurance to protect your goals. You need to protect these goals, because if something happens to you, you are definitely not going to achieve them. What happens with insurance is that it allows you to continue on and reach your goals, even if there's an issue that happens in your life that gets in the way of achieving your goals. So you need to make sure that you're actually buying insurance and using it to achieve your retirement goals by protecting your savings, your income, and your retirement investments. So while you're accumulating wealth, there's a number of things that can knock you off course. Injury, illness, loss of job, death can knock your family's goals off course. You make sure that you use insurance to protect them. The one thing I will caveat with that, and the same thing Carl Richards speaks about it, is you need to buy insurance, the most insurance you can get for the cheapest amount possible. And that's why I always recommend term insurance, term critical illness, disability insurance, and term life insurance to protect off your goals for as little as possible on a monthly basis, keeping your budget lean and mean, but also protecting you the way you want to be. So that is something you need to think about. So here's my bold statement for that. I need $2,500 a month for my basic existence. So I will commit a portion of my income every month to obtain this coverage to allow me to continue to pay my living expenses should anything happen to me. So that is insurance. So write down right now, or take a moment to write down things in your life that matter the most to you and things that could get in the way of that in terms of knocking you off track of your financial goals. So you need to think about those goals and what can knock you off track with those goals. And that's where insurance comes to play. So let's take a look at the 4 statements that I made during that. I want my emergency fund to be larger. 1 year's living expenses, business expenses as well. So I will commit to saving towards that goal. I also want to spend less money on evenings out because I know they are hurting my overall financial picture. This includes not saving enough, which going out less will help me with. I will cut back on one night per week, and that will save a good amount on a monthly basis. I know I need to save for the long term, so I've come up with a comfortable number I can start with to save every month. I will increase this number by 10% over time on an annual basis to help increase my savings rate. I know protecting myself is important, so I will commit a portion of money every month to that task. That's pretty simple. 4 basic statements that you can fit on one page that will help you get on the path to achieving your financial goals. Now, the one thing about the one-page financial plan, it's adjusted over time. So what you're going to be doing is actually attacking these goals and adjusting how you are. Now, when you hit that 1 year's threshold, or I hit that 1 year's threshold, which I have in terms of living expenses and emergency fund, that goal drops off and a new one pops up. So we need to make sure that on an annual basis, monthly basis, or as we're accomplishing these goals, we've set timelines. And then when we reach these timelines, we are now crossing off these goals and setting new goals, financial goals, immediate savings goals, long-term savings goals, protection goals, and of course, monthly spending goals. That's a huge one. 4 simple points: savings goals, debt, emergency funds, retirement planning, estate planning, income protection, and other financial goals were accomplished with 4 simple statements. Doesn't sound like it, but they're all intertwined in that basis. It's pretty cool when you think about it. You update your plan on an annual basis. You can do this in literally 15 minutes, and it'll give you more insight into your financial future than most in-depth financial plans will actually give you. And that's an amazing thing. So my one-page financial plan, that is pretty cool. Look at the post, read or listen to the video again, go over that. What I want to do is actually right now quickly go into Carl Richards' one-page financial plan, an analysis from Forbes.com on what they said about his one-page financial plan and the overview for it. So again, establish why money is important to you. Oftentimes this is because you want to take care of your future, your family's future, you want to be less broke, you want to not live paycheck to paycheck, you're sick of making debt payments, you want to make sure that you're protected adequately. Why is money important to you? Freedom. In my mind, money buys you freedom. It doesn't buy you happiness, it buys you freedom, which in turn, freedom is happiness. So make sure that you understand why money is important to you. And this is directly from the book, The One-Page Financial Plan by Carl Richards. The next one, guess where you want to go. So you have to establish where you actually want to be. If you're broke, you establish that I don't want to be broke. And how you establish that is by determining what amount you could have in savings to make it so you're not broke. That is huge. If you want to retire comfortably, establish what it would take to retire comfortably. It's not as difficult as you may think. You could take what you need per month right now and then adjust it for inflation. If you need $2,000 a month right now, you're probably going to need anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500 a month, inflation adjusted, depending on how long it is from you to retirement. And that's just me, 30 years for me, but that's probably about the inflationary rate I would need for that. So adjust your goals for inflation, but understand where you want to be, and that's a huge thing. know where your starting point is. You have to understand where you're at to understand where you need to go. And that's a massive, massive thing. A lot of people don't think about where they are right now. They just think about where they want to be, and they don't take the steps to address where they are right now. And what is the key factor to addressing the steps right now? Budget. Budget, budget, budget. Think of budgeting as a tool for awareness. And Carl states this in his book. And again, for me, I preach that all the time because the budget shows you exactly where you're at, where you're spending your money, where it's going. Honestly, adjusting your budget on a regular basis, especially right now while we're all dealing with the coronavirus and the effects of that, there's going to be a huge economic effect coming up for the next little while. It's going to be at least a year, in my opinion, if not more. We could be looking at a long-term recession. So make sure they're actually adjusting our budget, attacking our budget, and looking for ways to bring down expenses and bring up income. And both of those hand in hand will help you achieve goals. Number 5, save as much as you reasonably can. If you're not saving money, you're not attacking goals. You have to save money on a regular basis. If you cannot afford to save money, you need to make more money or cut expenses. That's all there is to it. Chances are you probably need to do both. So you need to save as much money as you regularly can. I have clients that save $25 a month because they're on a fixed government income, but they are still saving money for their children's future on a regular basis. Anyone can save money. It's all about what you spend and not what you make. And if you can try to make more, it will help you out even more in that case. Buy just enough insurance. I mentioned this in my post, but Carl agrees with me. Just enough insurance, just enough to cover what you would need to get by if something were to happen to you or your family members. Make sure that they're taken care of should something happen to you. Usually this means just basic term insurance, and I'm all for that. I help people get term insurance all the time. Cover off those expenses as cheap as possible. That's my goal with my clients. So make sure you're getting coverage. Carl agrees with me on that one. Remember that paying off debt is a great investment. You're increasing your net worth when you pay off debt. If you have $20,000 in debt and no savings, you are negative $20,000 net worth. Getting to zero is increasing your net worth. So make sure that you attack paying off debt like it is a great investment, because what that does is it frees up more money for you to save and invest in the future. That is massive. Invest like a scientist. So Carl's a big fan of ETFs and index funds. I personally like mutual funds. But whatever you are investing in, make sure that you are strategic and actually putting money. Well diversified investments is the key. Making sure that you're covering many regions, i.e. North America, Europe, emerging markets, and many sectors, i.e. financial sector, technology sector, healthcare sector, energy sector. And honestly, the energy sector right now, probably not the best one to be in, but at the same time, though, it will recover over time. We do need energy to live. But if you are in oil right now, you're definitely hurting. So make sure that you are well diversified so not one thing can actually destroy you. The whole world economy is hurting right now, but some places are doing worse than others, and some have actually recovered to a point where they're back to normal. So make sure that you are well diversified. Invest like a scientist. Hire a real financial advisor. So this is someone that actually explains things to you and makes you understand them and not just sells you something. So make sure that you're actually looking to someone who has the heart of a teacher. The words of my man Dave Ramsey, your financial advisor should have the heart of a teacher. And honestly, if they teach you, you should be able to make an informed choice. And oftentimes that informed choice is actually doing business with them because they're the ones who teach you. And that is honestly how I've gained most of my clients, is just by helping them understand things as opposed to trying to sell them things that they may or may not need. That is the key. So hire a real financial advisor. Behave for a really long time. What this means is use discipline. Make sure that you're disciplined in your approach in terms of creating your financial plan and attacking your goals, because if you're disciplined, you will achieve them. If you're not disciplined, you can make mistakes here and there, but if you're consistently making mistakes and consistently not achieving your goals on a monthly or weekly, monthly, or annual basis, then you won't get there. You have to be disciplined. You have to have a disciplined approach to it, and you have to make several goals such as spending less, saving more, earning more, and paying off debts. So that's a huge, huge thing. So make sure you are disciplined and you behave for a really long time, as Carl puts it. So I'm also going to attach this video that magnifies the one-page financial plan written by Carl Richards. It's a great book, but it can be summarized in my post, in that post from Forbes, and this video from This is actually from Next Level Life. I'm sorry, Next Level Life, which I subscribe to on YouTube. So I'll include this link for that. And what I'm going to include as well is my 7 steps to 7 steps to a relevant retirement system. Getting a little tongue tied, my bad. So 7 steps to a relevant retirement system, where I overlay financial goals you should have on a regular basis to achieve a relevant retirement. Step 1 being budget. Step 2 being getting rid of debt. Step 3, paying off your home. 4, adequate insurance. Step 5, investing like a pro. And then step 6 and 7 is where you achieve your remarkable retirement, where you take advantage of opportunities and leave a legacy to your loved ones. So that is my relevant retirement system, 7 steps to your financial freedom. I created it. I think it's quite amazing, so you should check it out. Market update before we take off. TSX again is up about 1%. We're looking at about even Dow Jones, slightly down S&P 500, and about 1% decline in the NASDAQ technological market. So we want to make sure that we're actually not adjusting our investments to a point where we are making detrimental moves. We're laying low. If not, we are scaling up our aggressiveness if we can handle the fluctuation. But make sure that you're talking to your investment advisor and make sure that you know what that will entail. And that might actually mean being patient for the next 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, even 2 year period while we recover from the coronavirus, because it was a huge, huge undertaking. Never in the history of the world has it been shut down like this, especially with the amount of technology and lives we live right now. Being shut down is a huge, huge shock to the markets. So make sure that we're not making drastic moves without the advice of an advisor, and that is key. I want people, again, to apply for the CERB for May. Make sure you're doing that. I'll include the link for that. You're going to have to apply on a monthly basis, reapply. The process is fairly easy, so make sure you're taking some time to do that so you can keep your roof going this year. Also, combo expenses worksheet. Said it before, say it again. Download the combo expenses worksheet. The link will be in this page as well. Follow me on Facebook, Joe Budget Boss, or at Joe Budget Boss. Also on Instagram and IGTV, where all the categories or all the COVID campaign videos will be, so you can watch them on a regular basis and go through them. I'm on Twitter as well, so you can get regular updates on. And the whole catalog will be on YouTube, my YouTube page, Joseph Francis on YouTube. Also, contact me, www.budgetboss.ca/contact, and you can actually book an appointment with me there or just sign up for my email list. More than happy to talk to you about your personal financial plan. So that is my post for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about creating your own one-page financial plan or Carl Richards' books, which I am a very big fan of, make sure that you're reaching out to me. You can shoot me an email at joe@budgetboss.ca or shoot me DMs across the social platforms at Joe Budget Boss, website budgetboss.ca/contact, and that is the best way to go about getting in touch with me. So have yourself a great day, guys.